Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And you can share with a friend if you enjoy it, and subscribe so you're notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show. This week on Today's Homeowner, we're taking on the fall fix-up list to get ready for cooler weather. Now, I understand last winter you had a guest that you didn't necessarily want in the house.
Yes, we had a possum in the basement.
When cooler weather arrives, there are some chores that you just know you'll be handling. Homeowners Robert and Elise Weeks have a few of these projects on their list.
We've lived in the house for about 5 years, and we really like the size of the yard. There's lots of room for Annalise to run around to play and for us to just be out of the house. Some of the things we don't like, the maintenance. We have a large oak tree growing over the house, and so maintenance from leaves and limbs falling. And then part of the house is 40 years younger than the rest of the house, so there's some differences in how the two things were done, and so it's a little bit of a temperature difference in the winter between the two sides of the house.
My comfort level is always off because it can get pretty chilly in the wintertime.
Our gas bill goes up real high in the winter, especially around December, January, February. It tends to skyrocket. The biggest thing that we deal with, especially in the fall, are leaves from the trees in the yard, and then cleaning out the gutters repeatedly.
So we're going to see what we can do to help.
Hi!
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
All right, how we doing? The front of the house here looks pretty nice, and I love the tree. What are some of the things that are really frustrating you about the house?
Well, the tree's a good place to start.
All right, okay.
You see our gutters here. We have a lot of work to do on there.
Oh man, I bet you spend a lot of time cleaning leaves out of those gutters.
We do. We've tried some different screens and things like that. It doesn't seem to help a whole lot. We still end up digging leaves out all the time, and you see the front of them is really dirty.
Well, I can see the small downspout really is a problem because, you know, if you have a larger downspout, it'll move a lot of those leaves out of there, but I think we have something we can put in the gutter that'll keep the majority of those leaves out. Now, I understand last winter you had a guest that you didn't necessarily want in the house. Tell us about that.
Yes, we had a possum in the basement. And so it would be nice if we could kind of get things to where they can be secure.
You know, a house like this and a foundation like this, usually pretty easy to seal it up.
That sounds great. We might have some other problems too. We've had some electrical problems before from wires being chewed on, and there's a rotten spot in one of the soffits that I think maybe some squirrels or other rodents have been
I bet you
getting
have
in through.
a lot of squirrels around here.
Right, we do.
And you probably like hear them from time to time?
We hear them on the roof all the time,
Okay.
just running back and forth.
Well, we can seal all of that up. What are some of the other things bugging you?
Well, there's a door around back that it's a really nice door, but when it was installed, it just doesn't look right. It's not quite fitting with the rest of the house.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Show me that.
See,
Oh, that's weird.
it's a nice door, but we've got concrete block over here, and there's just a huge gap all the way around. It looks like it's just not quite finished.
We can cut some pieces to trim all of this out. It'll look like it's been that way forever.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other areas around the house that the trim looks a little odd, and like this corner over here, it's just not quite right.
We'll see what we can do. We've got a lot of fun work here to do.
Okay, sounds
Sounds
great.
good.
When Alan and I arrive with tools and materials, it's time to go to work, but not before a brief rain delay. The most important tool for cleaning gutters is a good pair of gloves, not just because rotting leaves are slimy and gross. The raw inside edges of gutters are sharp, and it's easy to cut your hands. You must have to do this all the time with this oak tree overhead.
Oh yeah, we have leaves year-round falling off of it.
Alan's plan is to use a product called Gutter Brush to keep out the unwanted leaves.
I'm very confident we're going to have all the water still go into the gutter, but none of the debris.
Without a doubt, when you have gutters, you better be ready to do some maintenance on them. Or in this case, with us trying this device with Gutter Brush, it might be just the thing to keep that maintenance down to a minimum.
No tools to put it in place, boom. You've got these in about a lot of diameters, from 3 1/4 inch all the way up to 8 inch in diameter, so no matter what size gutter you've got on your house. So what you've got, all the sheet action on the roof, the water comes down, all the water goes in, the debris hits this and either rolls off or stays here. And when you're ready to clean it off, you just simply take it out, shake it off, put it back in.
Now, Robert, you have another kind of gutter guard on the back. How's that worked out for you?
We have to get up there and clean them off all the time and have to actually scrape the stuff out because it sticks on top of it.
They always seem to be dislodged.
Right, they don't quite stay in place very well. I guess the heavy rains or heavy winds blow them around a lot.
When the brushes are in place, they disappear from the view of the neighbors. Once we scrub the mildew off the front of the gutters, they'll be good as new.
Portable fans are really great for circulating air in enclosed spaces where you may have stale, really musty air. Basement, garage, workshop, playroom, anything like that. And if the space is also used to store trash and recycling and work boots, not only do you want to circulate that air, but also deodorize it. And one way to do that is with dryer sheets. You can get these at any supermarket, and they're used for putting into a clothes dryer. And if you buy the scented kind, this is lavender, you can use them to deodorize the air, and here's how. Take a small strip of duct tape and stick the dryer sheet to the back of the fan. Now, this is the rear of the fan where it's drawing air in. You just have to tape it right near the top like that. And now when you turn on the fan, as it draws air through the dryer sheet, on this side you'll get cool circulating air that smells great.
This week we're helping Robert and Elise get their home ready for the cooler temperatures ahead.
Things that you may think it's too soon to do that. Not really.
When it gets cold, it's not a whole lot of fun to be outside working, so that's why it's so important to, get a jump on it. We've already cleaned the gutters and protected them from falling leaves. Now it's time to seal up the cracks and gaps that can let in the cold air. Robert, I wanted to ask you about this. You showed me the door earlier that had been installed, but what exactly happened over here?
Well, when we were putting the door in, it didn't exactly fit right, and so we kept cutting and made it a little too big. You see, I kind of caulked over here some, and it just took a whole lot of caulk to fill in the gap.
This would take quite a bit of caulking.
Yes.
In this case, that means using foam backer rod to fill the deeper part of the void so the caulk doesn't have to be as thick. This Weathermaster caulk we're using is ideal for this application because it can cover wider gaps and remain flexible so it won't crack over time. Once the door is sealed, Alan and Robert protect the outside faucets from the cold that'll eventually be here, and I get some hardware cloth cut to cover those foundation vents. Elise seems pretty keen about getting this place sealed up and keeping any of those rodents out this winter.
Yeah, I think this will make her real happy.
Good, good. That's what we want. That's what we want. All right, well, I'll cut a few more of these. I'll tell you what, when we get finished with all of the little projects we're doing, Robert and Elise will still have a fair amount of work to do with all of the pressure wash and a few more minor repairs, a little more caulking, but I've got a feeling we've got them inspired. I think this place will look pretty good in about a month.
So, Robert, I'm guessing this is the beginning of the great American novel that you always wanted?
I have no idea. That's been here for years. We did not go with that custom paint job.
Really? It's so unique. If you can squirt some of that construction adhesive within there. Danny should be doing this because he loves construction adhesive.
I do love construction adhesive, but in this case, we're also driving in some masonry screws to help secure the screen. Now we need to tackle that rotten soffit.
My father-in-law and I were standing there trying to figure out what happened to the soffit, and so we got up there and just started pulling a little bit of wood, and more kept coming off because it was rotten, and so we didn't really know where to go from there, and we're left with a big old hole in this rotten piece of wood.
After a quick survey, Alan and I began removing the gutter and the damaged wood that needs to be replaced. Well, you have your strengths, and I have my strengths.
That is true.
And strengths lie in what you like and dislike.
I notice that you like to sing, but you're not very good at it.
I don't like addicts, but you're good at it.
Is that an omen of things to come?
When Alan gets the soffit removed, we get a better idea of what's causing this problem.
You've got a hole in the flashing right here. That's what allowing it all to flow in right behind. See, right there?
I see, yeah.
All flowing in right behind the soffit.
Ah,
So I bet you
so that's not long enough. That should stick out at least an inch.
It should have gone further out.
So the upper fascia board has to come out.
There we go. All right, good deal.
To correct the problem, we're replacing the flashing and cutting a new piece of fascia from the cellular PVC material we brought. This stuff is made by Royal Building Products, and although it looks like wood, it won't warp, rot, or crack, so it's perfect for this location. People tend to replace rotten wood over and over and over in the exact same spot. Well, years ago there wasn't a lot of options, a lot of alternatives there, but now with the composite materials and cellular PVC like we'll be using here, you're only going to replace it once and it's done, and it'll look just like the wood that's being replaced. All right, now I'm tucked under good there. Okay. Oh, man. Sweet, man.
Right there. Yeah.
We got that in place just in time because once again, the rain rolls in and delays our work. When the rain passes, it makes the roof a steam bath. Now we can replace the lower fascia with more PVC material. And finally, we cut a sheet of 3/8" cellular PVC to replace the soffit itself.
Haven't even capped it yet, and it's about to fit.
Once we install the bed molding, caulk the joints, and replace the gutter, it looks as good as new, and this stuff will last.
You know, I have to say, I think that painting is my favorite project to do because you don't need a lot of tools, they're not expensive, and it can really transform the look of the room. But you do need to have another tool on hand besides your paint roller and your brush. This is the Husky Multi-Tool, and it's perfect for all of your painting projects. Now, you see all these gadgets right here? Take a look down here on this 5-gallon bucket. I have laid out all of the tools that this one tool houses. Everything from a utility knife to a can opener. Let me show you, first of all, it's got, if you have to use an opener for your 5-gallon bucket, it'll open that lid. Then on this side right here, this is where all the action is. I mean, I've got a scraper, I've got a can opener, I've got a roller cleaner right here, a bottle opener. Here's even a rounded scraper there. So that's a nice little tool. But I love this utility knife because it's got a very easy quick change. Let me take the guard off. You just push this little top button right here, and that blade will come right out and it pops right back into place. So if you're doing your painting projects, this is definitely the tool to have on hand.
Our project helping Robert and Elise get their home ready for the coming fall weather has been hampered by the current weather. Instead of cool, dry days, we've had rain combined with steamy heat.
Anytime you're doing an outdoor project, weather's an issue, but this week has just been insane.
But for now, it's dry, so we're about to tackle that rotting corner board Robert showed us earlier.
All right, Robert, again, before it gets too cold, we want to get the outside work done that we can. I noticed this was a little bit of an issue, so we're going to replace this. I've got some great material here from Royal that it's an outside corner already put together. I love this, no seams.
The old corner boards come off easily enough.
Timber!
But unfortunately, the rain returned, so they're moving inside to deal with some drafty windows.
Recently, before we bought the house, the owners had double pane windows put in through most of the house, but this room still has the older windows. So yeah, the single pane windows in here, they let a draft in every once in a while. It gets pretty cool in the winter,
Right.
a little bit warmer in the summer.
Well, obviously the solution is replacement windows. Not in everybody's budget. So until you're ready for that, I've got a solution for less than $10. We can actually take care of this entire room. It's just a window insulating kit. Now this is actually their heavy duty plastic. I've done some kits that are about, they're a little thinner than this. They still look good, but it's so easy to do. Oh, we need a hairdryer.
Right.
Which you use a lot, I see.
All the time.
All the time.
After cleaning the window trim, they apply the double-sided tape that comes with the Duck Brand kit around the perimeter of the window.
Basically, it creates an air pocket between the film and the window. So it's like having an insulated window.
See if I can remember how to use one of these things.
As soon as the hot air contacts the plastic film, it begins shrinking tight, removing all of the wrinkles and creating a perfectly transparent cushion of insulating air.
That's pretty neat.
Isn't that nice? All right, the only other thing to do is trim all the excess off on the edges.
By the time the rain ends, Robert has to head to work, so Alan and I pick up where they left off on the corner board. Just a little trim on each side.
Yeah, take a little bit off on each side of it. We'll probably have to shim this one out like this is.
Gotcha.
And that'll be a perfect fit afterwards.
I think we get to use some construction adhesive here. It's gonna be great. This cellular PVC cuts just as easily as wood, so trimming the edges and creating spacers is easy enough. Then we glue the spacers in place with a fast-setting construction adhesive. But before we can finish the job, it rains, then it rains, and then it rains some more. And at a certain point, you just have to throw in the towel and wait for another day. We got a good day today. Once we dry fit the new corner board, we apply an adhesive to the inside edges, but this time we're using PVC cement. That's what the folks at Royal Building Products recommend for bonding this material to itself. Essentially, it welds the two pieces together. That means all we have to do is shoot in a few finish nails to hold it in place while the glue dries, and we're on to the next project. I notice this is concrete, this is some kind of composite, this is wood, but I think if we use some of the 1x4 PVC material and brought this out.
So basically you want to widen the jamb.
Yeah, widen the jamb. Okay. And so that means we need about an inch clearance everywhere, which is pretty good. How much do we have over here though? This right here is going to need a little bit of work. Yeah, that's not even 3/4.
Okay.
So the first step is trimming off some of the jagged concrete with an abrasive blade. That looks perfect.
Say it again. It looks what?
This looks okay.
No, the word you used was...
I can make it work.
Perfect. That's not what you said.
I've got caught. Now that we have the room we need, we can glue our spacers to the concrete blocks. Hey, did anyone mention that I really love construction adhesive? Then we simply build a jamb extension using more of the cellular PVC and cap it with PVC brick mold. Finally, we can set the unit in place and nail it to the spacers we glued in earlier. Once we've caulked the joints and cleaned up outside, it's time to add a little more comfort inside the home. Well, I thought about these bundles are so big, I don't think we should really be pushing those up into the attic.
Okay.
So I'll cut them and hand them up to you piece at a time. You can install them. I can keep feeding them up.
No, hang on.
Huh?
You're coming up helping, right?
You need help?
Yes.
I thought you'd say that. I just happened to bring my shirt, so
happened to?
I'll help you out a little bit.
All right, well, good.
The insulation we're using here is Roxel stone wool, which doesn't irritate the skin, but the old inadequate insulation in the attic does, and that's why we're wearing protective gear. Another advantage of this insulation is that it delays the spread of fire because it won't burn or release toxic gases when exposed to high heat. That gives you and your family extra time to escape in the event of a fire. Man, this does work well. Look how blanket's right in there. That is working out great.
I guess what a lot of people don't know, Danny, is the fact that you see how compressed this old insulation's gotten over time. Yeah. That's less effective right now. Yeah. Plus, as you've said, when you can see the top of your joists.
Yeah, you gotta have some more insulation when you're doing that. That's pretty good, man. That's gonna get it way up on the energy efficiency level here. And it should keep Robert's family more comfortable this winter. One of the things people often ask this time of year is how frequently should they have their fireplace inspected and cleaned. An inspection is a good idea before the beginning of each heating season, although depending on how often it's used, a fireplace may or may not need to be cleaned that frequently. A good inspection includes several things. In addition to inspecting the firebox for damaged or missing mortar, checking the damper for proper operation, and surveying the inside of the chimney for dangerous creosote buildup, it's also important to inspect the top of the chimney from the outside to ensure the cap is in good shape and that birds or rodents haven't built nests that would obstruct the flue or pose a fire risk. Even if you haven't used the fireplace all year, these conditions could be present, so it's important to look for them and have them corrected by a professional before the fireplace is used. Robert and Elise are a young couple with an older home. That means there's always plenty of maintenance to be done. This week, we've tried to help them with some chores that will get them ready for the approaching change in weather.
I just think that the work that y'all did was wonderful, and we really appreciate it. It looks so much better.
Cleaning and protecting their gutters from the inevitable onslaught of leaves, sealing up the gaps, cracks, and voids around the house that might let in cold air or critters, repairing some water-damaged wood and missing molding, and adding an extra layer of comfort between their family and the chilly winter temperatures ahead.
All the work y'all did looks great now. The doors look much more finished. The corner board looks tons better than it did before it was repaired. It was rotted, and then afterwards it didn't look right, so that looks much better now. And the Soffit, that's just tons better.
You know, it really is a lot of fun to help homeowners like Robert and Elise with a lot of the projects that maybe they've been putting off a little bit or not really sure how to get them started. And that's all part of being a homeowner. You're going to face those challenges. You don't have to do everything at one time, but get started and you'll be amazed at how gratifying it is when it all comes together. And you know, we're going to do it again next week right here on Today's Homeowner. Hope you'll join us. I'm Danny Lipford.
I wouldn't put my hand in that right side of that.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.